Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well as always. What's up, replay? Hope you're doing good. Welcome. Hope everyone's doing good. So, yeah, guys, we've got an interesting session up ahead. A lot of markets to cover. Of course, as always, any recommendations, any markets you're looking at, feel free to drop it in the chat, discuss, share. I'm happy to take a look. Initially, I'll go through the pairs markets I'm interested in where I do see opportunity. I will pick up where I left off on the weekend, discussing what my plans are for this week, what my expectations are for this week, and then we'll go through that and see if basically has anything changed. And of course, if you guys are looking at any markets, feel free to drop it in the chat and discuss. And of course, drop a like, share if you are enjoying the content. But I did say there was 3 markets which I did like going into this week. The first one I said was US 30. I liked it simply because we had a very, very clean breakout and a clear level for a retest and a confirmation level. Basically, if price was to stay above this, I would stay pretty bullish. If the market breaks below, I wouldn't necessarily be bearish, but I'll be a bit more hesitant jumping into the trade. And I said, if price was to break through this low, then yeah, that completely does invalidate the bullish bias. At that point, I'm not interested in taking longs in US 30. But we had a very aggressive candle on Friday, which was this candle here, clearing the highs here. It was a pretty significant candle because we've had numerous tests of this same barrier, same level. Each candle prior has failed, but this candle broke through convincingly. So it was a big shift in momentum, big shift between buyers and sellers. And the fact that we closed so strongly above shows, okay, momentum is now with the buyers. So as long as we can remain above this, the bias for me is pretty clearly bullish. So keeping it very, very simple. All I said is if we can get a retest of this, that's effectively where I want to place my entries, place my stops underneath, and see if I can take advantage of that momentum. Of course, since then, we haven't really had the retest, so no opportunity really to find an entry. But that's really where the focus is, just keeping it plainly simple. Again, a big part of trading is understanding the markets which you are trading. I'm not going to treat US 30 as I would treat Euro USD. I have to treat them completely differently because the mechanisms between the two are completely different. US 30 drifts, trends, Euro USD mean reverse. You have to take that into account with your trading style strategy. And with US 30, in a current bull market, I'm always going to be looking for break and retest. I'm always going to look for buy at support. And if price does start to break support, that's the red flag that I become patient and become more of just an observer rather than trying to participate in any trades. So it's very, very simple. What I'm looking for US 30, making sure I'm aligned with structure, 49,500, nice psychological level, clear level resistance. If we can get retest, that's where my focus will be. We might see potentially a weaker pullback, depends how bullish US 30 is. We might see a situation where price pulls back into support here and continues. I'll keep an eye on that. That's not my first choice, just because I would have, based on market structure, this is clearly the more significant level. Why we can see a lot more tension here for price. So that's really where I want to focus my entries on, and that's probably where price will be gravitated towards. But of course, if we are very bullish, we might just see something like this and not actually get the retest. So I'll keep an eye on that. But this is the area which I would want to actually get my orders at. But if I'm seeing healthy rejection there, I don't mind taking a initial stab at that level. If that fails, then having a secondary stab at the more significant area. But anyway, US 30 still in play, just no opportunity to actually place any positions yet. But the idea is still valid. I'm still looking for longs. Conditions haven't changed at all. I also spoke about a currency pair, dollar CHF. I said shorts look good for this one. Yeah, just didn't actually quite get to the area I was looking to short from, so unfortunately missed this move as well. Again, that's one of the big parts of trading is that you don't want to just have a bias. You also want to have a bias and have something that invalidates the bias and something that initiates the bias. And sometimes you don't get that initiation to a degree. You don't get that particular level you're looking for, a particular confirmation, and the bias happens anyway. After all, it is 50-50. Price is either going to move up or down, so it's not like you're do anything crazy, but you want to make sure that you do confine that bias to particular parameters, what supports it, what invalidates it. And the bias I had for dollar CHF was bearish coming to this week, but I did want to see a retest of this area. And I wasn't prepared to get in earlier because I would look very, very silly if I had a bearish bias. I said I was going to short from this level, I short from here, and I take unnecessary loss just because of my impatience. So need to stick to the plan. Unfortunately, price has rolled over and we're looking pretty bearish. And at this point, I don't really expect us to get the retest of that. It could happen. Maybe if price starts to consolidate, maybe we have a bigger pullback at some point. That could be the case, but I can't necessarily predict that. And equally so, it could just roll over from here. Now, I'm not too worried about this because dollar CHF is a pair which I'm going to be very focused on for the next few months, really, because if I expand, actually go to the monthly chart, actually. If I expand to the monthly chart, this is my long-term target, which is quite far away. This is the monthly chart. You could easily say, we could be 6 to 12 months away from testing that area, potentially longer, potentially quicker, depends on volatility and whatnot. But there's still a great distance to be traveled for dollar CHF. And if you look at the history of prices, it's just been falling since the beginning of time, essentially. So the likeliness of us taking out that low is pretty high. If you look across the board for the CHF pairs, long-term downtrends, they all look pretty much intact. So unless something changes drastically, they are likely to keep falling. So the plan is still very simple, still looking to short dollar CHF, just no confirmation. So maybe if you do get a bigger pullback, I'll look into that. I might start to consider this area. If we get a pullback into that, I might consider that, but my preference would be selling slightly higher up. So dollar CHF showing some momentum. Unfortunately, not quite at the level yet. And then I spoke about silver and platinum as well. I said both of them look pretty good. I did say I like platinum a bit more. So I am a bit more focused on platinum, but essentially the same trade. Both of them have similar market structure. Both of them looking for some downside after the selling pressure we've seen over the past 2-3 weeks. And both of them are kind of just short-term plays, taking advantage of the momentum that's currently here. I'm not looking to short silver for the next few weeks. I'm not looking to short platinum for the next few weeks. Actually, I'm still pretty bullish long-term on the metals. And that is still my main play. But looking at structure and how we developed, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we've had this massive sell-off and price has just gone and put a couple lower highs in. We had the initial high over there, secondary over there, third over there. Now, all I'm looking to do is to see what price does in this zone, seeing how we react. If we react well, I will look for some shorts, but I'm going to be very, very conservative with how I manage the trade. I'm not going to try and push to low straight away. It's a situation where I get into a short and I'm just going to see how it does move. If it moves well, great. Maybe I do get pushed to here. If it does struggle, really, maybe consolidate against me, I don't mind scaling out that position because I still believe the bull cycle to a degree is still at play. So I'm taking this trade with the initiative that I'm going counter trend. If I'm going counter trend, and especially in a bull market, you always have to be very, very patient and very conservative with that because it doesn't take much for us to suddenly rip to the upside. But from a structural perspective, we do have bearish structure. And the reason why I like platinum a lot as well is because we're back below the prior all-time high. If you look back over here, this was the prior all-time high back in 2008. And we're struggling to break through that at the moment. I've drawn a line from the high to our current prices. And you can see we did rip through, but we couldn't sustain up there. We had to come right back down. It's essentially saying that that's a barrier that's still standing. So if we are struggling to break through that, there could be some downside here. There could be some downside. It's a logical estimate for platinum. So that's why I like platinum based on where I'm positioned. Silver, similar price action, just not as good in terms of the market structure compared to platinum, because platinum, of course, failing at a prior all-time high. Silver has created all-time highs, wonderfully. So I can't be as bearish with silver as with platinum. But the same situation occurs here as well. Again, we had a massive sell-off, formed a high. This one we formed a lower high over there. We create a new low. So we do have some market structure to play against. And this could be a smart place for a short. Again, depends how we react there. And two, we're not looking to push that trade aggressively. A big mistake that I do see a lot of traders fall into is that when they see a trend in the market and they see that trend, falter, break structure, push the downside, immediately they're looking for the lower high and immediately they're looking for now a continuation in the opposite direction. Structurally, that makes sense, but you have to understand that this is very newly formed market structure. We have no reason to start to fall, especially when we've come from a very long sustained uptrend. That's really where the buyers, really where the strength is. So even if we do break structure, it shows that the trend is tiring. Doesn't necessarily mean the trend is over. It could mean that we're breaking structure to have a slightly bigger pullback before continuing. Maybe we consolidate, or of course, maybe we do reverse. But you're guessing a big shift between buyers and sellers out of just one bearish leg. Even with the bearish leg being aggressive, it's an optimistic bet. So you have to be extremely conservative when you're taking the first or second lower high after structure is broken, especially when you're trading in a trend that looks like this on the higher time frames. That is some exponential price action right there, and shorting that doesn't look like the right thing to do on a monthly chart. If I show you this chart and I said let's short it, you're probably thinking, what's this guy doing? Why would you want to be shorting that? If anything, you want to be buying. So again, you have to take that into consideration. So being very, very careful with shorts on silver. The structure does allow for it, but again, conservative management. If things are not going well quickly, no shame in exiting that trade. And especially if you do go and break structure back again, I would not be looking to sell. So yeah, that's kind of a summary of the markets where my attention is coming into the week. Platinum, silver, still in that same block. We'll see how we react there. Can't really update you guys much on that because we're just getting to the zone. So I want to see how price reacts. US 30, not quite at the level yet, but keep an eye. And dollar CHF, I'm not too sure if I'll get the short I'm looking for. Anyway, let's go through some markets. Replay, what's up, my man? Aussie yen, yes, we could take a look. Looking for a buy if we go break 109.426. Okay, we'll take a look. Looking for a buy opportunity, pound USD 50-minute chart, no problem. Waiting for a break 1.37 so I can enter if there will be any retest to it. Okay, we can take a look at both. Anthony, what's up, my man? It's afternoon here in South Africa. It's afternoon here in Rwanda as well. Hope you are actually, yeah, it is afternoon. Hope you're doing good. I'm here today. It's NFP in the markets will start. It's NFP, then the markets will start to be active. For now, we're just speculating where will gold go down or up, but it's bull. I agree. Yeah, I agree as well. Gold is still very much a bullish market. We haven't spoken about gold. I'll go through Aussie yen and pound USD in a second, but since I'm on the metals, I'll just quickly go through it. So yeah, I fully agree. And again, the best way to do this is to go in the higher time frame. Higher time frames, weekly, monthly chart. I know we're not necessarily trading those time frames, but they're great for one purpose: context. And if you can take that into account with your trades, it just makes things so much easier. Because on the lower time frames, gold's had that crash from last week. You're thinking, okay, should I start look to short gold, or should I not look to buy gold anymore? Those thoughts start to enter your mind. But if you scale to a weekly, monthly chart, you look at this market and you're like, okay, we're still very, very bullish. We haven't really seen a bearish candle, arguably since November 2024. The market is still, very, of course, we see some dojis. You could probably argue that's slightly bearish there. But the market's consistently bullish. So you want to still be a buyer. I want to still be a buyer. Same for silver, same for platinum. Actually, not very much platinum, but definitely gold and silver. So if I'm going to short market like this, my intention has to be short term. It has to be I'm in and out. If things are not going too well, I'm out. Or if things go very well, maybe I trail some stops, maybe just see how it goes. But my intention is always a quick one. If I'm looking to buy, then yes, I still want to be looking to buy gold. Of course, if I scale to the lower time frames, is the best time to be buying gold. I probably would argue against that. We're approaching resistance. I don't really want to be buying into that. But let's say if we start to break through, higher lows persist. Okay, that's something that does interest me. At that point, I would actually be looking for price to return back to all-time highs. So I still believe gold's a good buy. I still believe silver's a good buy. Let's just wait for the lower time frames to catch up with that or invalidate that. If that's not going to be the case. But yeah, high time frames provide the best context. What's the context saying? Very, very bullish gold, very, very bullish silver. the longs make sense. Of course, we could still see price fail here and still see a down move for potentially Thursday, Friday. That could be your profit for the week. So it's not to say there aren't any sell opportunities. It's just that make sure you're categorizing the sell for what it is. You're not trying to shoot for the moon here and look for a sell back to these lows and further. You're being way too optimistic. Not that we can't do that. It's just that you're being way too optimistic with that position. You treat it for what it is. Maybe we do run to those lows. You can leave a small position to run, but your expectations are aligned. Anyway, let's go through Aussie yen, and then we'll take a look at pound USD as well. Okay, so Aussie yen, I took a look at this one last week. I said, okay, Aussie yen's trading at a very interesting price. Replay what you're looking at. I'm looking for Aussie yen buy if we go and break 109.426. Okay, let me clean up the chart. So you're looking for a long above 109.426. Whereabouts is that? 109.426. Okay, that's slightly above the high here. Okay, so you're probably a bit intraday. Let me drop to a 30-minute time frame. Okay, yeah, I do like it. So I'm guessing a break of the high here, roughly. If price can break above that, that does show some intent for us to go high. Yeah, I would agree with that actually. I would agree with that. The only to be fair, I do like it because it's lower time frame. You're looking for the quick move. It might continue high, it might not, but the opportunity is there. The only kind of situation we're in here with Aussie yen is basically where we're trading the higher time frames. Prior highs back in July 2024, we've just gone and spiked through them. It's in the middle of the month, so we can't really say too much about this candle here. This could close very aggressively bullish. It could flip and close bearish. It is we'll see at the end of the month, so we can't really speculate too much on how it will close. But what we can speculate on is where we're trading. Very, very sensitive area. So eventually price is going to reject this or break through. It's too early to say what we're going to do. But if you're going to stay on the lower time frames, your objective is not so much to guess whether price is going to break through this or is going to reject this. That's something you decide later. Your objective right now is to see what is the market currently doing. Well, the market is currently still very much in a bullish trend. Momentum still with the buyers. So by default, that should be the direction you're trading in. Now it just comes to timing and an entry signal. And I would agree with what you're looking at there as well. Where I dropped to the 30-minute time frame, I would say, okay, what we've seen an uptrend, prices create new highs. We're in a pullback phase, or supposedly a pullback phase. The market is pulled back into a nice demand zone. We do have some bearish structure opposing the up move, which is this structure here. If that was to end, that would be a strong sign to say buyers are stepping back in, and we could see price now push back to highs. That would be a smart play, and I think that's similar to what you're mentioning. So yeah, I would second guess that break above 109.4 roughly, which is this high here. That shows structures now breaking back towards the upside. We've still got momentum on the daily chart. We are trading at sensitive region, but we don't necessarily have to hold it all the way back to highs to profit. Even a push halfway, you can lock in some gains, trail some stops, however you want to manage it, but you can still profit from that move. It doesn't have to be the home run back to highs, but it makes sense for us to get there. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here with Aussie yen. I do agree if we break the high, buys do look convenient. Of course, if price doesn't break the high and we persist low and we break through this low, well, yeah, I wouldn't say the buys look good anymore at that point. Yeah, if anything, we could be breaking structure to reverse. So yeah, I do agree with that outlook replay. Break above 109.426, buys do make sense, and you've got a pretty clear target 110.6 there as well, and you've got high time frames on your side. So yeah, I do second that. Okay, we'll go through pound USD next as well. You're looking for a buy on this one, 50-minute time frame. Waiting for a break of 1.37. Okay, we can discuss that, no problem. Anthony, good analysis, Miko. Appreciate it. We must all agree, smash the like button, show some love, guys. Appreciate it, my man. Yeah, guys, if you guys are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out. Share it with your friends as well. I do really appreciate it. And of course, if you do have any recommendations, any markets you're looking at, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'm happy to discuss. But we'll take a look at pound USD. So pound was the main FX pair that I was looking to trade last week, but I missed the trade. I was looking for price to come back and retest the high of the range. It was just a simple range trade, really. Pound USD back and forth for the past few months now. We got clear equal lows, clear equal highs. We had a fake out not too long ago. Price redeemed that, nice upside. We had the exact same situation over here. That's basically what the trade idea was based around. I said if we can get a retest of there, can place some entries, stops above the high, and then my target would be this area back towards where equilibrium has agreed. I wouldn't be looking for the full push, not at least with the whole position. I would at least be looking to take price here, and we tapped into that, and we did that on Thursday last week. So after that happened, I said, okay, the opportunity's kind of gone now. I don't want to be jumping to shorts now because we just tapped into equilibrium. Now things become a bit more 50-50. So yeah, after that, we've had a pretty considerable reaction. We're looking pretty bullish here over the past few days. Replay, you said you're looking for something. You're looking for some longs on the 15-minute above 1.37, which to me looks like this high over here, roughly. Yeah, 1.37. So yeah, if price can break above that, you're bullish. Okay, let's see the context of things. 4-hour chart, what we saying. I like it. There's a bit of friction to the left there, which might give me some heebie-jeebies because we did consolidate here. We did see a pretty strong push. So it's a situation where, okay, if we do break above that, that does show intent. And we've, of course, seen some consistency with that. But we do have an area which price can very well find resistance and maybe have a bit of a reaction from. I'm not necessarily saying we're going to sell off, but you're buying into that. That could cause a bit of friction in the trade. Like if you compare to your Aussie yen trade, where there's some nice room there, I think that's a better or a clearer path to your targets than pound USD. I'm not too sure what your targets are actually. Yeah, so 1.37, I would agree that's a bullish signal, but just above us we got a zone that would make things a bit awkward for me, and that probably will keep me out the trade, to be honest. It depends. If you're looking for a very short term, you might get away with it. Of course, if price just goes and breaks through that level, you'll get away with it too. But again, that's a bit of a guess. There's nothing telling us necessarily that price is going to break through that area. So if we do buy above that, we're kind of hoping to see the break. So yeah, that would probably put me off the trade idea. The Aussie yen trade, clearer path to targets. Pound USD, I like the momentum, but there is some obstacles in our way, which are kind of hoping price breaks through, which, yeah, I would be a bit more hesitant with. I mean, I can see the momentum, and USD is looking very weak right now. So the chances are pound USD probably does have enough energy to break through. But then again, it could still be messy, and that could knock you out your trade before we do break through. It's not a situation where, okay, USD is weak, so we're likely to break through. That could be true, but it might react first. It might hit your stop loss, then break. So yeah, I'll be careful with pound USD. Just a bit awkward in there. Raheel, yes, we can take a look at dollar yen, no problem. Wayne, what's up? Can you do gold and BTC? Of course, no problem. Circuit, what's up? Yes, we can take a look at pound Aussie as well. Okay, so I'll start with dollar yen. Dollar yen's been a bit of an awkward one. I haven't really liked the price action of dollar yen. It's kind of like very volatile. Super bearish, super bullish, now super bearish again. And I don't really see much opportunity because you want to get in before the move, and we're kind of seeing the move. So it's like, okay, if I'm not really in the trade, kind of missed the boat a little bit. But essentially in the higher time frames, we're rejecting resistance, weekly chart, rejection resistance here. So what's the play? Do I want to be looking to buy here? No, not really, because why would I buy here? maybe because I'm expecting that trend to continue. Do I really expect that trend to continue after rejecting the high the way we did? No, not really. So if I buy here, it's more so I'm looking for a reaction trade rather than a swing position. So there could be a short-term buy naturally as we do, come back and test support. But again, the emphasis on the short term, I wouldn't bet that we're going to double bottom here and the trend's going to continue. There's not a lot of evidence to support that. So yeah, dollar yen's is an interesting one because we're kind of swinging around here, and you want to be in a position where you've caught the swing. You don't want to be looking to short now. So if anything, the next idea would be looking to see if we can catch a temporary bounce. And again, I wouldn't be betting for pushback to highs, more so just a temporary bounce. We'll see how far that goes. Maybe price later does continue rolling over. And the yen pairs are looking pretty weak right now. It might be a situation where we see a reversal of the yen pairs. That's on the cards. I quite like pound yen. We can cover that shortly. So yeah, dollar yen, I wouldn't be jumping to shorts. We've missed the boat for that. Longs is definitely your next best bet. But again, there's no kind of incentive for a big continuation. We're breaking through structure, momentum's increasing. I think a short-term buy makes the most sense, provided we see adequate reactions, rejections to support that. If, of course, we're just breaking straight through, then you want to ignore that or look for sells later on. Let me know your buys for dollar yen. Yeah, not my favorite pair at the moment, I have to say. Okay, so we'll quickly go through gold and we can take a look at BT and gold, BTC, and pound Aussie. No problem, replay. Happy to help, my man. Wayne, on gold, I can see bullish momentum 4-hour trend line resistance, but want your input. Okay, we'll go through gold next. So yeah, I said gold does look bullish. Of course, higher time frame momentum still with you. You still do want to be a buyer with this one, just a bit more hesitant if you're on the lower time frames. Reason why? Of course, we've seen a considerable downside move. Most importantly, we failed at highs here, last week or the week before. So you want to see price regaining ground. You want to see price breaking highs again. You want to see price trending again. At the moment, we're not really trending. We've had a low, we've had a lower high, we've had a higher low, and at the moment, we've got an equal high. So if anything, it's quite ambiguous right now. The direction is not quite clear. We could very much find resistance and roll back over. So from a buyer's perspective, it looks like momentum's creeping up, but I want to see evidence of highs being broken. Then that means we're getting higher lows, and that means we're getting higher highs. And I wouldn't mind finding the next dip to then trade that higher, possibly a push back to the all-time high. So gold is hinting at potentially a recovery. It's just not confirmed yet. I wouldn't be jumping into some longs just yet. I know you can reference this as a bit of an upwards trend line, but again, you got that obstacle right above your head. And if that does reject well, I think I'll be jumping into some buys a bit prematurely. So I want to see this level broken with some conviction. And then the next dip after that will be something I'll be interested in. And if we don't break the high and we do reject and push down, well, we're back to square one at that point. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to short gold. I wouldn't be looking to buy it. I'll just let gold do what it wants to do, and I'll keep an eye. So yeah, I would say gold's still bullish. Higher time frame context still to the upside. Lower time frame looks like it's catching up, but I would want to see the high taken out first before initiating any buys. Okay, BTC we'll go through next, then pound Aussie. Cole, we should wait for NFP. Yeah, that's a smart move. It depends on your approach to your trading. Some people want to wait for major news events to happen and then trade afterwards, which makes a lot of sense. If you're very purely price action based, you're just looking for an opportunity where price shows a good opportunity, and you take the risk with news. That's a good approach as well. Keeps you systematic, keeps you disciplined. Yes, sometimes you'll be on the wrong end of the news. That's where risk management comes into play. And of course, sometimes you'll be on the right end and you'll be in before the news and the volatility is in your favor and you look like a wizard. Pros and cons. One big lesson I've learned over my career in trading is that with every action, there's a consequence. nothing's purely positive, nothing's purely correct. Because if you wait for NFP, we see volatility and a massive move happens. Well, if you start buying afterwards, you're a bit late to the party anyway, or you're a bit, yeah, you're effectively a bit late. Doesn't mean price can't keep going, but you're late. Of course, if you get in early, you could catch the move, but equally so, you could be in the wrong direction. And depending on your risk management, you could get slipped, you could lose more than you want to. So again, pros and cons, pros and cons. My take, I very, very much purely price action based. So I will take good opportunity. I wouldn't take good opportunity just before news because then I'm really at risk. But if I can be in a day, 2 days, 3 days before, especially from a swing perspective, because I will have naturally larger stops, I'm very much happy to sit through NFP, Fed interest rate. Because if I avoid those events, I'll only be trading very few times a month, and that's just after events happen. So if you're day trading, I think that's a smart take. Swing trading, smart take as well, but again, there's a trade-off there. In terms of BTC, BTC is interesting. Still very bearish, and I would still be looking at more downside for Bitcoin. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like price is obeying the support level to our left here at 76K. So for me, BTC is outside of a bull cycle now. We've been in a bull cycle since 2022 December, roughly. That's when you can kind of categorically say things did start to pick up there. And then since the high here, 29th September, roughly, we've been in a downward spiral, and now we're breaking through key structure. Not to say that BTC can't eventually, consolidate, find its feet, and rip to the upside again. Of course it can, and I expect it will. It's just I can't treat this price action like I would treat a retracement here or a retracement here. I have to treat this more like this situation here, which is everything is quite bearish right now. You want to be shorting the highs. And if you're looking for longs, especially from a trading perspective, we don't really have the structure to support that. Of course, if you're investing, that's different. You're looking just to find a good price and hold. But from a trading perspective, structure is not in your favor if you're looking to buy, at least not if you're looking for like a decent swing trade. So coming into the week, I did say if price can pull back into structure here, I think that would be a smart place for a short. At the moment, it looks like we're kind of just bleeding slowly to the downside. We might not get this bigger pullback. That would be a nice place to short from, but it could be a situation where we just steadily pick up momentum and keep falling. So BTC, I would have a short bias here. Only looking for sales at this moment in time. Any buys I think are quite aggressive, unless if you just want to be in and out, quick trade, one and done sort of trade. If you're looking to hold for multiple sessions, multiple days, shorts is definitely your best friend right now. That's where momentum is. We're breaking through key structure. Nothing about BTC speaks bullish, and that's kind of the same for a lot of the cryptocurrencies at the moment. So short bias for BTC. Where price is now waiting for the break of the high. Okay, same set. Okay, for gold. Wait for the break of the high. That shows intent from the buyers. Sellers can't hold the highs anymore. That's your green light to say, okay, structure's now pointing up. Buys make sense. If we fail at the high, then I don't think buys make sense. Okay, so I'll go through pound Aussie next. And what's up, Angie? We can take a look at Aussie, New Zealand dollar for you, no problem. Seems ready for a buy after the break and retest of the H4. Okay, we'll go through pound Aussie first, and I'll take a look at your ADNZD idea. So pound Aussie, beautiful sell. Price kind of accumulated over the past few months. Now has kind of relieved the tension, and we're falling out the sky really. So again, with this situation, the way I look at FX pairs, I always want to be in the trade before momentum's picked up. And what I mean by that is I want to be getting involved when the situation is like this, not when the situation is like this, because I'm late at this point. Here, I'm still early. Why? Because the market hasn't really moved anywhere. Yes, we've got a bit of a consistent uptrend, but we haven't really seen much expansion. Price is still kind of building up. I would expect eventually price to expand higher or eventually expand lower. So I'm in before the move. If you catch my drift, if price is in this phase, which we're gunning in a single direction, momentum's there, breaking level after level, I'm late to the party. And the only opportunity I see here is very short term, just kind of a continuation trades, like a very shallow pullback on like an hourly chart, 50-minute chart, quick pullback back to highs, and then you're done. That's the only real opportunity I see here. Or you kind of waiting for price to accumulate again and wait for the next move. So the situation we're in with pound Aussie, we're in that second situation right now. I'm seeing price fall out of the sky. So would I be looking to take buys? Absolutely not. Would I be looking to take sells from my trading style? Absolutely not as well, because I should be in the trade already. And if I'm not, then I'm too late. So at the moment, from my perspective, swing trading perspective, there is no opportunity. We're in the middle of the swing. Why there could be opportunities, like I said, some short-term intraday, intra-week pullbacks. You retest of structure here, quick retest, quick short back to the lows, you're done. A pullback like this into resistance, nice short there. Pullback into recent structure there, nice short there. It was a bit messy. Can argue push back into the highs there as well. But those are the type of pullbacks you're on. Reason being, there's a lot of momentum in the market. All you're trying to do is take advantage of that present momentum. And it's still in play right now. So your pullbacks here make sense. Your short-term trades make sense. If you're looking for any meaningful buy or any meaningful sell, you're a bit too late for that. I want price to find its feet again, find equilibrium between sellers and buyers, because right now sellers are dominating the market. So I want to see buyers stand their ground at some point, wait for price to accumulate, find consolidation, and eventually another swing is going to happen. And that's the swing I want to catch. Right now, I've missed that swing. So pound Aussie, from my perspective, I don't see much. Structurally, we're falling out the sky. Nothing to do here, apart from, like I said, very short intraday selling positions. If that's what you're looking for, great. This is probably a good market to do that because momentum's high. If you're looking for a trade which you want to hold over a couple of days or so, or a day, yeah, I don't see that really. And I wouldn't be looking left to try and see if I can find support here. That's just a random level of support that might or might not bounce. Not much. That won't really provide much information. So pound Aussie, I'll be a bit careful. Okay, so I'll go through Aussie, New Zealand dollar next. Anthony's NFP today, guys, keep an eye on that. Markets will be volatile, very, very true. You look for short-term day trades to get some super money. Oh, I read that wrong. Yeah, I would agree. If you're day trading, you got that flexibility, which is you're not looking for a trade to persist forever. You're looking for it to be short-term. You're looking to get paid quickly. And what that means is if you're not getting paid quickly, you can get out of that position. If you are getting paid quickly, you can bank your profits and be done even before NFP comes into play. From my perspective, looking for a swing trade, if I was to enter just before major news events, I'm always increasing my risk unnecessarily. So if I'm taking a trade, I want to be in at the very least kind of, 6-7 hours before the news event. That way I can probably get a bit of momentum in my favor and give myself a bit more protection. Normally I want to be in the day before. If you've got major news today, I want to be in the trade yesterday, preferably the week before. But if I'm in the day before, I'm happy. And of course, if I'm in drawdown, I can decide if I want to close it or not, or reduce risk. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. If you're day trading, you can get away with that. You can be done before the news is out. You don't even have to watch the news and go about your day. But yeah, if you don't want to be in a day trade holding into the NFP, that's just a recipe for disaster. Even if price goes in your direction, the sheer volatile nature can whip you out the trade and cause some nasty slippage, which we do not want to see. So be careful with that. But yeah, good mention, Anthony. Appreciate the comment there. So yeah, in terms of Aussie New Zealand dollar, Angie, you mentioned you're ready for seems ready for a buy after the break and retest on the 4 hour. I would agree. Well, we're seeing a massive breakout right now that stems from the monthly chart. We've been consolidating for about a decade, if I recall correctly, more than a decade since 2014. We've been in this range, and it took us to late 2025, 2026 to actually see the breakout, or presumably a breakout. It could turn into a fake out. But for now, we'll classify this as a breakout until proven otherwise. So there could actually be a lot of upside for Aussie New Zealand dollar over the next few months. We could see price come back to these areas. This is an area where we have rapid momentum, and this is where we slow down. That could be where price is going to be drawn to next. So we might be seeing a situation where we break out, momentum picks up, and we're kind of just looking for pullbacks on our way back to 1.24, 1.3, anywhere within that area. So there's some real upside here for Aussie New Zealand dollar, and it makes sense based on how we'll be moving. The market kind of just zigzags. It's kind of like a larger consolidation, if you will. We reject the low of the consolidation. Can we move back to the high? It makes sense. So yeah, I do second looking for breaking retest pullbacks. If I drop back to the 4 hour chart, you look at structure. Would I be looking for a breaking retest here? Not yet. I wouldn't be looking for a breaking retest here. Not yet. Reason being, structure doesn't really point in that direction right now. Not in terms of buys, but just in terms of how we're pulling back. Because you can see here, we had a lovely break and retest roughly. So price creates the high, breaks through, retest, and then continues. But look at the length we had of that move past the high. It's quite a considerable move. This is where the break and retest makes sense. Here, the breakout's quite. Oh, I completely missed it there. Here, the breakout's quite shallow. So yes, we did see price break above, but look at the distance, very minimal compared to this. So the retest is a safer bet here. Here you're kind of banking on momentum, just really picking up out of nowhere. Same situation occurs here. We've only seen price break out marginally, so I wouldn't be so convinced on the retest here. If anything, I'll probably look for a slightly deeper pullback, probably into this area or even back into the low here, and then bet on continuations down here. Because I know momentum's down the higher time frames. I'm happy to bet on the trend continuing, but I would probably say I'm a bit early if I buy in a break and retest with this type of breakout. Now, let's say if momentum does pick up, doesn't have to pick up to this distance, of course, but it just needs to show a bit more intent. And then I'll be happy to look for the retest of this area and bet on the continuation. But yeah, in terms of direction, I do agree. Aussie does look bullish, not only just in the 4 hour chart, scaling right up to the monthly chart. I can see reasons for us to continue going high, and that's the best trade. If you're in a low time frame and things look good for a buy, but then you scale higher and things don't look good for a buy, well, that means you're probably looking at a short-term move or a move that's not really favored. If you look at the low time frames, you see a nice buy opportunity. You scale to the higher time frames, and it looks like that has room to the upside. The bias makes sense. Well, of course, those are the trades you want to be taking every day of the week. So yeah, I really do second that. Not quite ready yet for some entries, but the structure's there. It's just about trading that market structure really. Unless, of course, we go and break structure, then we can reinvestigate that. But yeah, I do like the bullish bias there for Aussie New Zealand dollar. Dylan, what's up, my man? How's Rwanda treating you? If you're still there, yes, I am still in Rwanda. It's treating me pretty well. I can't lie. Shorts and a t-shirt pretty much every day. Although it does rain a lot here. I am in the rainy season. We're in the rainy season at the moment. So it does kind of rain a lot. So you have to make sure you got a raincoat nearby. But in terms of the weather, a lot better than the UK. So I'm grateful for that. And I think there was I saw a post the other day, like the UK has experienced rain every day since the start of the year, which is insane. But to be fair, it's been raining a lot here too. But yeah, sun's been good. Food's been very good as well. People are very friendly. So yeah, I'm experiencing a very different side of the globe compared to the UK, and I am enjoying my time here. I do recommend people to visit. How are you doing yourself, Dylan? I hope everything is okay with you. Anton Silva, can always count on you to push Silva on the 1 minute, my man. That is some hardcore stuff. I probably wouldn't even drop to like an hour chart for Silva at the moment. So 1 minute is pretty hardcore. But yeah, as I said, I mean, I'll start on the 4 hour chart just to give us some context of what I'm looking for, and then we can scale to the 1 minute. But basically, on the 4 hour, we've got an area of supply resistance, however you want to name it, an area which price pulled back and saw a lot of bearish momentum, create a new low. This is bearish territory for me. Not necessarily that price is guaranteed to react there, but it's an area where price could react, and if it does react, could start another bearish leg. So I'm looking for bearish opportunities here. The only situation where I'll start to look to buy silver again is if we break the high. That shows me that buyers are showing clear intent, and I will scrap the bearish buys very quickly. So that's the only situation where I'm looking to buy. But currently on a 1 minute chart, momentum is very bullish. So I would be looking at buys. You can see we've had a very nice kind of flag correction here. Momentum picked up. We had a consolidation here. Momentum picked up. Had another consolidation here. Momentum picked up again. So we're seeing kind of very forceful momentum right now. So the idea is pretty simple for me. Pull back into structure here. I'm looking for the retest and the continuation. If we have a deeper correction, I'm looking for the retest over here and continuation. I'm betting on that momentum continuing. I do think there's a good chance it will. So silver 1 minute chart, buys. Buys make the most sense. Retracements back to value. This is where we had buyers and sellers last agree on price. Come back to retest that. A natural place where volume is going to be lurking. We could see continuation. Another natural place volume will be lurking down here as well. So yeah, silver buys 1 minute makes the most sense to me. Even if that first area fails, I'll still be looking to take up another long there. But yeah, not for me necessarily. Okay, so Jay Huntley, what's up, my man? Hope you're well. Thoughts on Euro USD 15? No problem. We can take a look. Ivan, what's up? Good to see you. Long time no see. Absolutely. I'm doing good, my man. I'm doing good. All is well with me. I hope all is well with you too, Ivan. Good to see you on the stream as well. Okay, so we'll take a look at Euro USD in the 15. Of course, if you guys have any other requests, feel free to drop it in the chat. And if you are enjoying the stream, drop a like. Does really help out. Share with your friends. All of that good stuff is appreciated. Okay, so in terms of Euro USD, well, the larger context before I do drop it to the 15 is we're currently in an ascending channel right now. Equal highs, equal lows roughly. Price has since retraced roughly to the middle of that range, found a bit of support and retest of structure, and we've been looking pretty bullish since then. So what's the opportunity? Well, from a swing perspective, I don't see much of one because we're not really at an extreme. We're not really at an area of value. I would say we're kind of just in the middle where things are neutral, things are a bit more 50-50. Of course, if you drop to a 15, that can change, but with consideration to the higher time frame, knowing that we're not necessarily obliged to keep going. We could start to consolidate. We can push back down. There's not necessarily incentive for price to do anything really. If we're at extreme, if we, say for example, we're at range and price rejecting low of the range, well, naturally we're going to push back to the high. If there's incentive for price to return back to the mean. In a trend, there's an incentive for the trend to continue. If we're in the middle of a range, there's no incentive for price to do anything. It could push to the other extreme. It could stay there for a while. So because of that, be a bit more patient, be a bit more conservative with your trades. On the 15, however, of course, we have seen some momentum recently. Momentum's picked up. Now we've formed a bit of a consolidation here. You could be looking for a break and retest just outside the range here. You know, we've seen some significant momentum. If price was to break through that, you could be looking for continuation there. That does make sense on paper. Yeah, it's just not a trade that I'll get very excited about, just because I don't have any reason that I'm forecasting Euro USD to push higher, other than we've had a bit of a retest of structure here, which you could say, okay, price come back to retest structure. You know, we could be looking at a continuation. Okay, I can see the logic there. But again, it's just the nature of the market, very, very flat. I think the only real positive thing is that the overall trend for Euro is up. So you do have that kind of natural drift at the moment that favors buyers over sellers, but it's a weak trend as well. So I can't really take that too much into consideration. So yeah, Euro USD, keeping things simple. A strong break of the higher retest makes sense. I wouldn't get too carried away with targets. I wouldn't just expect a lovely trend to form and us just to continue higher. It was a situation where, can we get a clean retest? Great, back to wherever that high is. I'll lock in a good chunk of my positions there, and then yeah, maybe we can trail stops and see how far we go from there. Maybe we continue, maybe we come back down. Who knows? But from my analysis, there's not much incentive for us to keep going higher, other than that kind of natural drift we have, which is very, very lackluster. And what that means is that we don't have to go now. You know, we could pull back down, we can consolidate, we have a deeper correction, and then go. That's what that means. So a lot can happen between now and a push back to highs. So because of that, I'm not going to be so confident to push this to highs. I can be confident that momentum's there, especially if you see the breakout intraday. I just won't be so confident that we're shooting back to highs. That's my only advice. The buys make sense, especially if we break the highs, absolutely. Just don't get too carried away with targets just yet. And what that means is just manage the trade. Just keep an eye on the trade. Not a situation where I'll take an entry, put a target, and just let the market do its thing. It's a situation where entry, stop loss, target, maybe some partial areas, maybe trail some stops, however you want to manage it. That would be my advice. Ivan, what's up? What do you think about strong yen now? And which is your favorite yen pair for sells? Good question, actually. I would say my favorite is pound yen. And I do think it's an interesting situation we've got here, because the yen pairs are still very bullish. Let's not get it twisted, because as retail traders, we're very quick to jump on the bandwagon when you've got a persistent trend. It looks like it's tiring. Everyone's like short, 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 short. How many times has that happened with the yen pairs? You know, countless. Over the past couple of years, we've seen persistent trends. Every time it looks like it's faltering, everyone's looking for shorts. And I'm not saying you're wrong to do that. Just don't be too optimistic. So we're seeing the market falter now, and I do think there's some downside to be had. What I'm not predicting is this. It could happen, of course, but I'm not predicting that. What I would predict with some confidence is that, okay, we've got a trend right now. We've seen consistent failures at the highs. So right now the trend is very fatigued. So what could that mean? Well, that could mean that we do push a little bit lower to go find some other buyers to then persist maybe in the trend. So my take with the yen pairs is, okay, we're seeing some yen strength come into play. The trend's clearly showing tiredness, at least for pound yen anyway. I do think there's room to the downside, but I'm not looking for a big move. And if things are not going well quickly, I want to get out of that trade, because I know I'm counter trend on a trend that's been bullish for quite a long time, and higher time frames are still pointing up. So it means still very much identifying the trend as bullish. The reason why I like pound yen the most is because I can see with real clarity how we're failing at highs. You can see price has had one attempt, a second attempt, and a third attempt. Each time we got to that level, we come down pretty aggressively. So that tells me that we're very tired. We're still fading at the same level. And price keeps coming back to the same level of support as well. So it's not like we're still making higher lows. We're actually making equal lows. So effectively, you can kind of say this is just a range. So I like pound yen, and I'm looking at something like this forming a pullback into structure. We start to fade and potentially push back into lows, maybe a push here. That's even me being a bit optimistic. Of course, we could go a lot lower. I'm just purely thinking from a trading perspective. What's the logical move? Logical move is we're still bullish higher time frames, so I'm keeping things simple. Nothing wrong with leaving a position to run. Maybe we do complete reverse. Who knows? But yeah, I am favoring a bit of strength from the yen. I can see some clear signs of tiring, especially for pound yen. Other yen pairs slightly different, but pound yen is my favorite. And I do like the shorts here because we're seeing strength in each of these bearish moves. It's not like it's a corrective push down. We're seeing real force, and we've seen it 3 times as well. So that's really a strong sign. So yeah, I think temporary downside, but not being too overconfident. Not being too overconfident. Christopher, what's up, man? Hope you're well. Happy New Year to you as well. Been a long time. It's like a reunion today. Hope you're doing good. Everything's well with me. Where's our nice background? Did you move house? No. Well, actually, technically, yeah. I'm spending some time in Rwanda at the moment. I moved. When did I move? October. Yeah, October last year. So I've been here for a few months now. Just a bit of change of scenery at the moment, so things are looking a little bit different. So yeah, things have changed, and technically I have moved, but we'll see what the future does have in store. But yeah, I'm in a different location at the moment. But good to see you. I hope you've been well as well. Welcome back. Hope everything is well with you. And same to everyone else on the stream as well. But yeah, I mean, again, in terms of my focus now, of course, we'll see what happens with the news. I'm not really focused on USD, to be honest. Of course, NFP can affect pretty much any currency, or it does affect every currency. But USD is not really my focus. A lot of kind of condensed, choppy markets. I'm looking for clarity. Markets where I do see clarity, or starting to see pound yen, I think, give it maybe a day or two, could be looking good, maybe going to next week. US 30 still very, very clear, very concise price action. That's probably my favorite because we've got clear uptrend, clear break of a level, clear momentum to show intent. It's just, can we get a decent pullback? So US 30 is probably the top of my list by far, followed by pound yen, followed by what silver potentially could do. USD pairs, pound, euro, dollar CAD, Aussie, yeah, not really interested in. Of course, we'll see what happens with the NFP. Maybe something can change up a little bit. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the USD pairs at the moment. Yeah, I am in Africa, East Africa at the moment. Tell me when you visit South Africa, I will show you around. Well, I've been to South Africa before, but I am due another visit, to be honest. Whereabouts in South Africa are you? Joburg? But yeah, to be fair, I don't know my way around South Africa, so absolutely. Christopher, I'm very well. Good to hear. All is fine, going well. Oh wow, you originally from? No, I am half Nigerian, quarter Zambian, quarter Polish. So an interesting mix, but not Rwandan. But yeah, I mean, it's been a good. I mean, I've been to Rwanda a couple of times, but it's a good change up from the UK, weather, people wise. Okay, Joburg. Yeah, I've only been to the Joburg airport. I haven't looked around, so I do definitely need a guide. What's up, Dev? Welcome to the stream. Been to Kenya? No, I haven't been to Kenya. That's on the bucket list. I mean, to be fair, it's only down the road. Well, a very long road, but it's not far from Rwanda. Absolutely, Angie. Absolutely. Definitely need to check out Kenya. What's up, Dev? Welcome to the stream. Good morning, please. What do you think about oil? Okay, we could do oil. To be fair, oil not my favorite market these days. I mean, I don't even trade oil, so what am I talking about? But sometimes the price action is nice. But yeah, I'm not a big fan at the moment. Anywho, we are testing a key area which I do have some attention on, which is this support level. Now, I'm not necessarily saying, okay, if we reject this, I'm looking to sell. It's just an interesting level because prices rejected it multiple times. So there's clearly a focus for oil. And the fact that we failed to break the low and now pushing back into that area makes this interesting because we have been very consistent with these lower highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we form a sixth? Maybe even at this area? That could be an interesting area for us to return around from. But of course, I'll wait for price to give me the confirmations, not just because we're at a level. So with oil, it depends on your time horizon. If you are short term, well, things are currently quite bullish. And I do think there's still a little bit more strength to give, possibly a pushback to resistance. So it depends. Are you like on the 15-minute chart? Well, if I was on the 15, I'll be looking at longs. Reason being, momentum still very much with the buys here. Look at the consistent higher lows. You know, I want to be looking to take advantage of that. I wouldn't want to be buying now though, because we're coming into highs and resistance. Not the best time. I want price to be on a dip, maybe back towards this area, maybe towards that low, and that would be my trade. And then I know there's a good chance we can come back into resistance. That's where we were previously. So that would be the target for the trade. And then we can judge if we're looking for a swing back down again or perhaps a breakout. That I would say maybe next week when we get there. So oil short term bullish. It looks like a smart trade. We've got consistent higher lows. Haven't really seen an expansive move yet, so I do like the buys here. Pivotal level, we could turn around. But I want to wait for evidence for us to get there and see how we react before I clarify a bias. Full-blood Nigerian, nice, but living in Cape Town, wicked. Half brother, absolutely, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've checked out Cape Town before. Beautiful place, Cape Town. Definitely need to go back again. But yeah, interesting though. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Cape Town is definitely a place that you can check out again. You need to check out Joburg as well. I mean, there's a billion places which you need to check out in Africa, to be honest. But yeah, it looks like I got some tour guides though, so that's good. Anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning into the stream. I hope you have found it useful, enjoyed it, learned something. If that's the case, please do me a favor, smash the like button. It does really help out. I do really appreciate it. Of course, share it with your friends. That helps out too. I will be live again tomorrow on Trader Nick's channel. You can't miss him. Massive channel. Just type Trader Nick. You'll see his channel. I'll be live on his stream tomorrow. So if you do want to see more of my analysis, updates on NFP, tune into his stream. If not, I will be posting my analysis, recapping this week, forecast the next, sharing any trades I took, any trades I'm looking to take the following week, and break that down in detail. So if you're interested for that, look out for Saturday's video. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Congo, absolutely. I mean, that's just only across the pond as well. Yeah, literally borders with Rwanda. Billion places to go, to be honest, and that's just in Africa. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Drop a like before you do leave. Do really appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Watch out for the news as well. We don't want any blown accounts later. Let's manage that, ladies and gents. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.